ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः तस्य यथा अभिनहनं प्रमुच्य प्रब्रूयात् एतां दिशं गन्धाराः एतां दिशं व्रज इति सग्रामात् ग्रामं पृच्छन् पंडितः मेधावी गन्धारानेव उपसंपद्यते. So this much we are looking at here, how the jiva is lost in a forest. And what is the forest? Body. The body itself is a forest. We are looking at that now. And the body, why is it a forest? Half of it we have seen, why it is a forest. So the jiva is lost in the forest, and we'll continue to see why the body is a forest. Jiva is lost in the forest means what? Out of touch with Ishvara. That is what is the meaning of the word lost. We have to understand. And where is Ishvara? Angushtamatra Purushaha Madhye Atmani Tishtati. Which chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Ishano Bhuta Bhavyasya Natato Vijugupsate. So, where is this Ishvara? Right in the heart, in the spiritual heart, proverbial heart, which is, according to Ayurveda, ancient Chinese medicine, everything, the resting place of the restless mind is in the heart. And the mind has to sink into the heart. This is how they say, even in the, even if you go to like Ayurvedic practitioner, they will say the mind is, the vata is untethered, deranged vata, because that vata governs how calm the mind is. If the vata is imbalanced, the mind goes bye-bye. And so therefore, they will give some medicines to calm down vata. Vata prashamanam. And so this is one way to ensure what? That the person keeps coming to classes. Yeah, otherwise with the mind gone, who else goes? The person also goes. Harati prasabham manaha. And so by force, the mind takes away the whole person, because the mind is a very powerful instrument. And so here, so even though Ishvara and Jiva are, so to speak, playing in the same body, residing in the same body, obtaining in the same body, who is the one who is predominant? Jiva. Who is this Jiva? Ahankara, identified with Dehatma Buddhi. Ahankara, that is identified with what? Aham Dehaha. Dehameva Aham iti Buddhi. So identified with the body as I, identified with the mind as I, identified with the sense organs as I, identified with Karta as I. And if I'm not Karta, what am I? Bhokta, victim. That is also who? I. So all the things I possess are what? I. All the things I'm possessed by, I. All the things I wish to possess, I. All the things that were mine but have been taken away, I. And so this I comes out as, I mean, not this I, that I, there is only one I. So the I that is identified with the I notion, which is thinking of itself, conceptualizing itself as I am as good as the body. If the body is sick, I am sick. If the body is destroyed, I am destroyed. All this he is going to say. But so this is a very difficult proposition, because the Atma Jnanam, for the Atma Jnanam to come, Atma Jnanam will come immediately, no problem, because everybody is intelligent and you can see this, you can see the truth of this. But for the Atma Jnanam to come, sit and ask for a cup of coffee and not leave immediately, to abide, needs a prepared mind, a mind that will allow this. And then if one says, my mind is not prepared, that's not an excuse. Why is it not an excuse? Because the Upanishad, and in fact the whole Shastra, 9/10 of what is the discussion? How to prepare the mind. How to get ready. How to get ready is 9/10 of the teaching. Really. It's like the aforementioned example of celebrity models doing what is called the walk, showing off something. So how long they take to get ready? Whole day they take to get ready for a 2-minute walk. It's like that. So the Tattvamasi, how long does it take to say? How long does it take to internalize? Not very long. And 9/10 of our job here is to be loving, patient, and compassionate with the mind and with the body mind sense complex, so that it can be a fit vehicle for moksha shastra. This is what it is. So to say, oh, my mind is not a fit vehicle, so I'm jettisoning the whole project, that is not an option. And so here in the thicket, in the forest of this body, mind sense complex, Jiva has lost touch with Ishvara. Where is Ishvara? Don't scare me on the last day, okay? Yeah. Spare me, don't scare me. Yeah. Have pity. Yeah. Where is Ishvara? Right there. Right there where the Jiva is, Ishvara is. But the darshana of Ishvara does not take place because of the thicket. What is this thicket we are looking into right now? The thicket of the forest, which is this very Sharira is the forest, and not only Sharira is its own ecosystem of all kinds of limitations and liabilities. Limitations belong to the body, limitations belong to the mind, to the sense organs, not to the eye. And this Jiva, which has identified with the limitations, is lost. And so, this is where we are. And then let us see what is said further. So we saw, what did we see? What did we see here? We saw something here. Where are we? Yatha etad drishtantah varnitah. Yeah. So this deharanyam, so this body forest, body means body, mind, sense complex, everything you have to include, okay? Don't just stop at the body. So what is it? Vata, pitta, kapha, rudhira, meda, mamsa, asthi, majja, shukra, krimi, mutra, purishavat, shariram. This is what the body is. The body is an assemblage of all its constituents, including what? Including the germs, bacteria. I told you yesterday, who are these bacteria? They have what? Ancestors. They consider your body as their ancestral property, so they can never be evicted. Antibiotics just sends them on a little holiday, and then they come back, or their descendants come back with a vengeance to take revenge for their purvajas. Okay, and so therefore, um, this body is a conglomeration, of the 5 elements: fat, flesh, bones, marrow, reproductive material, and excreta, all kinds of waste. Okay, and then what else? So shita, ushna, ushnadi, aneka dvandva, sukha, dukkha, sukha dukkhavat. So sukha dukkhavat. So shita, ushnadi, anekadvandva. It is another conglomerations where opposites reside. What kinds of opposites? Opposites, the irreconcilable opposites. Can sukha and dukkha be reconciled? Say no, so we can move on. No. So you are either happy or you're sad. Nobody says I'm sadly happy and I'm happily sad. Nobody says. Sukha, dukkha cannot be reconciled, contradictory. And then Shita, Ushna. What is Ushna? Cold. No, just checking. Okay. Yeah. So Shita, Ushna, heat and cold, can that be reconciled? Yeah. Nobody says I'm hot and cold. Yeah. So then either one is hot or one is cold. So the body mind sense complex is driven crazy. The ahankara, which is identified with the body mind sense complex, is driven totally and fully crazy. What kind of crazy? Mad. Why? Hot, hot, hot. Cold, cold, cold. Hot, cold, hot, cold. Please remove that for Swamiji. Come. So, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, happy. This is maddening. 1 minute happy, you know, like a puppet, driven crazy by various pairs of opposites: dharma, adharma, karma, akarma, punya, papa. The dvandvas, the opposites are endless. In fact, if we just string together a whole conglomeration of opposites, that is itself called Jagat. Jagat is nothing but opposites. And these opposites become oppositional for the ahankara who is suffering like a yo-yo. 1 minute happy, next minute sad, and then that's not a problem. Okay, 1 minute happy, next minute sad, it's manageable. But what is the real problem is I identify with the happiness. And then it goes away, and then what? Immediately I'm in the doldrums. And then what do? I become the doldrum. Identify with the doldrum. And then again it's crazy making. This is the cause of exhaustion, mental, physical, emotional, everything. And so then what else? So sukha dukkadivat, sukha dukkadivat cha. So idam, now we are talking of, we finish the body forest, the thicket of forest, which is full of opposites, which is full of all kinds of scary things, and where I have lost sight of my Ishvara self, and I am keeping on reproducing my Jiva self. And then what else is there? One more problem is there with this, because it is full of opposites. It's like I go here, somebody gives me prasad. Ha ha ha, how nice. And then I go somewhere else, and then what happens? Somebody hits me, and then I say, oh no, terrible. So it is like this, full of happy experiences, sad experiences. To both of them, I get attached. How do you get attached to sad experiences? Because the mind is not willing to let go, because I identify with that cause of that sorrow, and then I become that, and therefore it is very difficult to extricate myself without this Atmajnanam. So therefore, so then what is the blindfold? The pata. Pata means blindfold. Moha pata abhinadakshaha. So who is this person lost in the forest? Having the blindfold of delusion. Anyatha jnanam, agrahanam. One problem, agrahanam means atma ajnanam. That itself is difficult. On top of that, what do we have? Anyatha grahanam. So since the eye, it's like a rope, partially known. Like a rope in twilight, this eye is somewhat known. Asti kaschit, something is there. Somebody is there. I know. I know I. Because it is self effulgent, it's not possible to not know it. I know this I. And then what? But I don't know the nature of this I. Don't ask the next question, who are you? If you ask who are you, I will say how much time you got. Because I have I have a long list of things. So therefore, what to do now? So therefore, the I is partially known, and like the partially known rope, the I becomes a sitting duck for all kinds of wrong impressions, wrong identifications, wrong understanding, including I'm not good enough, I'm an idiot, why me, why is this happening to me, why not to somebody else, and I'm guilty, I'm a karta, and somebody else is the karta. I am suffering from their omissions and commissions, and so therefore I am hurt. All this are what? Superimpositions, as though aropa upon this I, which is free of all superimpositions, which is Shuddha, Nitya, Mukta, Buddha, Swabhava. It is like a tranquil lake, clear water. And then the air moves over the lake and ripples form in the water. The ripples belong to what? The air. It's the action of the air, but the water there. Therefore, when the air moves away, then what happens? The water comes back to its original. The lake comes back to its original nature, tranquil and placid. Then small child comes and throws a pebble, what happens? Creates waves and ripples. The ripples are on the surface. The ripples are caused by the stone, which is what? Intrinsic to the lake or extrinsic to the lake? Extrinsic to the lake. And then the ripples on the surface resolve after the stone has sunk to the bottom, and the lake returns to its placid nature. This I have to understand. And so therefore, the I is mistaken for what it is not, and the I is not taken for what it is. This is what is called the two kinds of mistakes. Adhyasa. Atmani, anatma adhyasa. That Atma which is forever and which is not subject to sorrow, I think of it as what? I am sad, I am finite. This is one problem. In the Atma that is free from limitations, I take the Atma that is infinite to be limited. One problem. Anatmani, Atma adhyasa. Then all these objects of the Jagat, the many and varied objects of the Jagat, which are what? Finite or infinite? Finite. But I take them to be infinite. These are the two kinds of mistakes. Atmani, Anatma Adhyasa. Anatmani, Atma Adhyasa. This is what brings one down and doesn't allow one to get up unless one is exposed to this knowledge for a period of time. And so, therefore, then abhinadhaksha, so the ahankara has its eyes blindfolded by agrahanam, not knowing the truth of the eye, and the eye notion is also blindfolded by what? Anyatha grahanam. These two adhyasas, these two mistakes form the warp and the weft of the cloth that is covering the eyes. I don't know, atma ajnanam, and then therefore anatma, atma ajnanam, and taking myself to be what I am not. And then so therefore, and how does it manifest is told here, so I am so and so's husband, I am so and so's wife, bharya, putra, I am so and so's child, or this is my child, mitra, this is my bff. Yeah, what is bff? Best friend forever. Remember, you want the forever. Yeah, not the friend. Okay? Yeah. So you hope the friend will be forever. That's what the idea is. So bharya, putra, mitra. This is my pet cat, my pet dog. Bandhu, this is my relative. Adi, drishta, aneka vishaya, trishna, तृष्णया पाशितः bound as though we have to add because we know better. Okay, yeah, as though bound by the threads, by the shackles. Pasha is shackles here. By the shackles of what? This is my child, this is moha. This is my wife, moha. This is my husband. This is my partner. This is my spouse. This is my child, my friend, my pet, my relative. So drishta aneka vishaya trishnaya. So the longing for all these things, the longing for bharya, the longing for patihi, the longing for putra, putri, and the longing for pashu. In olden days, Pashu was cattle. It was a kind of a, what is that called? Wealth. It was kind of wealth. So now, Pashu is what? Dogs and cats. Pet dog, pet cat. That is generally the Pashu. If you go westwards, then you can add snakes and tarantula, which is a kind of a poisonous spider. Yeah, yeah, you don't let it pet you, you don't pet it also, but they keep it as pets. Lobster, and what else? So many other things. Tortoise, all these things they keep as pets. Okay, yeah. So all those things we have to include here. So the longing for all this, drishta means seen. Whatever has been experienced and seen, there is a longing for that. Vishaya Trishna. We already saw the derivation of the word Vishaya, Vishinoti, Badhnati, that which binds. So Vishaya Trishnaya, Pashitaha. So bound by all these longings. I want to have this, I want to have that, somebody else has this, therefore I'd like to have this experience. And then this is what it is. And what is the problem here? The problem is not the desire to experience these things. That's not the problem. But to think that this experience is going to give me moksha, that is the problem. And sometimes sometimes we have to see, like, you look for something, you try to do something. No, nothing wrong. You try to do it once, you try to do it twice, you try to do it 3 times, you try to do it 4 or 5 times, and you see that it is not working. This is what is pariksha lokan. So therefore, if the 4 marriages don't work, you don't get married for the 5th time. This is common sense. At some point, you have to say, this is not for me. Oh, but that person is happily married. Let them, bless them, pray for them. Yeah. This is not for me. You have to see this. But for all too often, what happens? All the anatma pursuits, people think it is for them. When it comes to atma pursuit, the conclusion is very clear. This shastra is not for me. Atma jnanam is not for me. I tell you, if you are a human being, you are already qualified for Atma Jnana. Really. So, this is the wrong prioritization. And then This is the problem. So this is moha pata. This is the deluded, what is that called? Deluded pata, moha pata, the blindfold of ignorance and wrong conclusions. This is the moha pata caused by the longing for all kinds of finite things. Aneka drishta vishaya means what? Anatma. Because Atma is what? Adrishta. It cannot be seen. And so Atma is Drik Swarupa. It is the nature of the seer, that content of both the seen and the seer, the Atma is. So it is not just an object. So Drishta Vishaya means, Drishta Vishaya Trishna means longing for Anatma. And then what happens? Now we have to look for the robbers. Who are the robbers? Punya Punyadi Taskaraihi. Punya Punyadi Taskaraihi. If the body is the forest, then the question comes, how did I enter into this forest? How did I get lost? I was what? Om. I was at home with Om. And then suddenly what? I have entered into this body forest. Who kidnapped me? Who took me there? Punya and Papa are the Taskaras. Taskaras means what? Very dharmic people. Thieves. Good. So, Taskaras means thieves. So, the thieves in the form of Papa. Thieves in the form of Punya. Are, Papa I can understand is a thief, but Punya. How can Punya? Punya is good, right? Nice experiences, wonderful, gulab jamun for Bhandara. All these things are Punya. How can that be a thief? Because Punya also, what does it do? Steals away. Steals away at the Purushartha Nishchaya if it is not Dridha. If it is not strong, the Purushartha Nishchaya is what? Compromised by Punya. How? Because as long as good experiences are coming, there is no reason to question anything. You keep going because there is only because everything is going according to what you think is the plan. We saw yesterday how when we don't get what we want, then only Vedanta comes into the picture. When you keep getting what you want, you don't question. You keep going from cruises to yachts to buying one more plane, and if that is not enough, what do? You go on SpaceX. I want to go to space. I want oneness with space. Now there are space tours. So 5 people's, or no, not 5, 50 people's lifetime savings you put into a 5-minute flight, literally. Yeah. And then you go to the edge of space and you look out the window, ooh, and then by the time you say ooh, it's done. Yes. That's what it is. And so because some experiences I keep wanting. So punya also, see, there are 2 kinds of punyas. One punya is that which takes you to this knowledge and keeps you in this knowledge even under the most adverse circumstances. But for that punya to fructify, you should already have a little bit of viveka and vairagya for that punya to fructify and keep you there in the path of knowledge with Acharya, with the Shastra to keep you there. So what is the other kind of punya? The other kind of punya is a pasha, is a bondage, like golden spoon. One is born with a mouth. In the mouth means what? Born in a golden cage. Golden cage and iron cage. What's the difference? No difference. One is subject to rust and the other one is what? Not subject to rust, but then one can get carried away with the identification. What is the identification? I am in a rust-free cage. Yes. And what happens to Vedanta pursuit? It comes to rest, if not rust. Vedanta pursuit gets rusty because of the golden cage. Ahankara rusts. The cage doesn't rust. Sad, but that is what it is. So then, Punya Papa are the Taskaras. Punya and Apunya. Taskaraihi, by these Taskaras, by these thieves, I have been put in this forest. So beautiful. Punya and Papa is the reason for this birth. We saw that everybody's name should be what? Mishra, little bit of Punya, little bit of Papa in the human body to get. So Punya Punyadi Taskaraihi. So kidnapayan, having been kidnapped. And then what happens? Put over here, put in this body forest, where I have lost touch with myself, where I have not understood the truth of myself. So Papa Punya is the offspring of Ajnanam. So therefore Punya and Apunyadi, Adipadat, Ragadvesha, and all the other subtle Sharira, Samskaras which have come for free from the previous life, all the Ragadveshas I have carried in huge suitcases, meaning my own baggage. My own baggage has set me in this forest. I have been kidnapped by my own baggage. I opened the baggage to see. Alas, it was a Pandora's box and full of all kinds of wrong things came out. And then my own vasanas, and then all of them have imprisoned me in this forest where I am directionless and lost. And then what? So praveshitaha. Praveshitaha means made to enter. Entered here. And then what? And then what do I say? Aham amushya putraha. I am so and so's daughter. I am so and so's son. Mama ete bandhavaha. This is my clan. These are my relatives. And so if I keep focusing on the relative, then the absolute is lost. That is the idea. Sukhi aham. Yay, I'm happy. And then now what? Dukhi. I'm not understanding anything in Vedanta Shastra. Moodhaha aham. I'm so deluded. Oh, whatever the Shastra is telling is right. I'm beyond hope. I'm beyond redemption. I am completely sold to despair. I'm desperate. Moodhoham. Moodhoham. And then one person says that, the other person or the same person in another time says, Panditoham. I'm an expert. I'm an expert in this, that, and the other. Rely on me, 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 me. Let me show you what I can do. Panditoham. And then dharmikoham. I'm the most dharmic person. I'm the most dharmic person. Nobody else is more dharmic than me. And then bandhum, bandhuman means I'm blessed with lot of relatives. Jataha. Oh look, did you wish me happy birthday? I am born today. Many years ago, but I'm born today. And then we also oblige. When somebody says like this, what do we say? Many happy returns. Don't say that. Yeah, if you're a Vedantin, don't wish that upon people. Happy birthday is okay. Don't say many happy returns. Happy returns means you're telling the jiva to keep coming back. Yeah, don't do that. Okay? Yeah. So it is my birthday. Jataha aham. And then what? Jeernaha aham. Now I am all. Nothing works. Ears don't work. Eyes don't work. Jataha aham. Jeernaha aham. And then what? Mritaha aham. Who says mritaha aham? I am dead. Who says? No. Nobody can say that, because the what says that has departed. So all the accoutrements, one has been dissociated from the accoutrements of speech, etc. So, but you can say, I am about to die. Marishyami, you can say, I'm going to die. I'm about to die. Oh no, I'm done in. And sometimes people say as a metaphor, oh my God, this is what is happening, I'm dead. But they don't mean I'm really dead, but then it is just an expression. So we have to take it that way. Don't take all this is written, don't take all that is written as literally. as literal. Okay. Then what else? Papi aham. Oh my God, I'm so guilty. I have done so many things wrong. I can't even count them. If I made a list, I would be here for the rest of my life making the list of my own omissions and commissions. And then what else? What else does this? Does this Mohapata make us say? Putro me mritaha. My son is gone. My child is gone. Dhanam me nashtam. My money is gone. My money is destroyed. Ha. Oh no. Ha means alas. Alas. Hatosmi. I am dead because money is gone, child is gone, everything is gone. So therefore what? I am also gone. Katham jivishyami. How will I live? I can't even imagine how to live. And the person who says that will be still having 3 meals a day, making their coffee on a timely basis, but still the lament, how will I live, does not go. Kame gatihi. Where am I headed? Oh no, if this is my life, where will I go? And then finally, kim me tranam. Who will take care of me? If everybody is like this and horrible people are surrounding me, who can I rely on? Where is my refuge? Iti evam aneka shata sahasra anartha jalavan. So this ahankara, lost in the body mind sense complex forest, is what? Aneka iti, in this manner, aneka shata Sahasra Anartha Jalavan. So the one who is Jalavan, the one who is not has a net, but in the net. Okay? If you have a net, that's a different thing. You are not the owner of the net, you are owned by the net. What is this net? Aneka, many and varied. Shata, Sahasra, hundreds of thousands. What? Anartha. All kinds of sad things, useless things, horrible things. The net is comprised of that, and then this is what I am. I'm trapped. So, Vikroshan Kathanchid eva Punya Atishayat. So, Vikroshan. So, this is all the lament. The person is lamenting being lost and cast off in the forest, alone, lonely, without help, vulnerable. So, Kathanchideva Punya Visheshat, because of some Punya accidentally fructifying. By chance, what happens? Paramakarunikena. Paramakarunikam kinchid Sat Brahma Vidam. So Paramakarunikena, by some over compassionate person who doesn't believe in all this. The compassionate guru doesn't see you as helpless, hapless, hopeless, but still comes to your level and teaches as though you are helpless, hapless, hopeless. This is the fun part. So it's like somebody who says, Dashtoham, Nashtoham. I have been bitten by a snake. Oh my God, where is the snake? Outside. Come, show me. So because first you examine the body to see if there are any of those telltale fang marks. The person's body is examined, no fang marks on the hands and legs. But the person is jumping in agony. I've been bitten, bitten. Pahimam, save me. Okay, the next thing to do is what kind of a snake? If it's a harmless garden snake, okay, no problem. But if it is something poisonous, we have to know. So we can administer the antidote on time. So come quick, show me the snake. And the person says, I know exactly where it is. Look. And what do they show? A rope. Yeah. With a frayed end like this. Yeah. Why is it frayed? Because one is afraid. Okay. So shows the rope. And still, after seeing the rope, hugs you tightly behind, stands behind you. Oh my God, I can't go near it. What if it bites again? It has already bitten. You also don't go near because you will also be bit like me. Come, quickly, let's go inside. Jumping up and down. What do you say to this person? If you say to this person, there is no snake, that person is not in a place of reasoning. Beyond logic, beyond reason is not available for reason. So what do you tell this person? First you calm them down. First you say, oh, I know this snake. Don't worry. I'll first take the poison out. So saying, you just tie something there, like a tourniquet. Pretend tourniquet you tie, give them a glass of water, and then what? Let them calm down a bit. And then not only then are they able to listen, this is not snake, but then this is rope. This is an innocent rope over which an aropa has been done. That is when they are able to listen. So the Paramakarunika means the Guru of utmost compassion, the Acharya, has to do all these things for the afflicted jiva. Has to enter into the ajnanam and anyatha jnanam as though seeing the condition, but at the same time not identifying with that condition, having that inner space and demonstrating for the student that inner space and showing that it's okay. That is why Lord Dakshinamurti is smiling. Mitahasa. Little bit of a smile. Not ha laughing. Yeah, you will never see gods with teeth, showing. Yeah. Except perhaps Kali and Kala Bhairava. That's a different one. That's a totally different icon. But otherwise, most of the devatas, they are not showing the teeth. They're smiling. And then when Lord Krishna starts the teaching in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanna Iva. Prahasan Iva Uvacha. Tam, who is this Tam? Arjuna. So to this Arjuna who was afflicted, who could not see a way out, like this person lost in the forest. Like the quintessential jiva lost in the forest, he could not see the way out. To him, the teacher said with a smile. The smile is to show this is not real. The smile is to give the reassurance, you will come out of this. You will also be smiling like me. It is not laughing or smiling at the person's predicament, but as though entering into the predicament, appreciating the predicament, and helping the person to resolve the predicament, all while retaining that inner space and demonstrating for the student also that inner space. And so who is this Paramakarunika? Sad Brahmatmavit. So, Sad alone, this Sat, Tat Sat Sa Atma Tattvamasi is the Vakya. So, Sad Brahma with the one who knows that Sad alone is Brahman, and this is myself alone, the one who knows. And who is that? Vimukta Bandhanaha, the one who has got freed of his own bondage, her own bondage by going to his teacher, by going to her teacher. And who is that? Brahmanishtaha. So, Brahmani eva nishtha yasya saha, for whom the commitment is totally to Brahman. It's not like sometimes I believe in Brahman, sometimes I don't see Brahman. No. Yad asadayati means the one who gains. Who is the one who gains? The student, by some sudden punya, working overtime, by some grace or working overtime, gets this kind of a person as a teacher. Tena cha Brahmavida, by this kind of a teacher, Karunyat, because of their love and compassion, Darshita Samsara Vishaya Dosha Darshana Margaha Bhavet. Very beautiful compound. So because of the compassionate teaching of the teacher, that this kind of a teacher described above, what happens? The person becomes, the person means the student here. The person becomes Darshita Samsara Vishaya Dosha. Darshana Margaha. So, who is this Darshita? Samsara Dosha Vishayaha means the one who, out of compassion, has been shown the limitations, the dosha, the fallacies of samsara, the fallacies of objects. How many there are? 19, don't forget. Yeah. 19 fallacies of the objects we saw, 19 fallacies of samsara. So the one who has been darshita, samsara vishaya dosha darshitaha, and then what? Darshana margaha. So Darshana Margaha means the one who has been shown that all these things are connected to samsara, and then the one who has been shown the way. The way out of what? The aforementioned samsara. Aforementioned samsara. So not only shown the way, shown the limitations of samsara, but also the one who has a clear vision of how to come out of this samsara, thanks to the teaching of the teacher. And then what does the teacher says? Na asitvam. Na asitvam means you are not. Oh, but I thought I was self-evident, I exist. Yeah, but we have to read a little further. Na asistvam samsari. You are not what? Samsari. Until then, what did the student think? Very, very sorry, I am a samsari. Na asitvam samsari. Amushya putravan. You are not amushya putratvadi dharmavan. You are not somebody's son, somebody's daughter. You are not somebody's sibling. You are not somebody's mother. You are not somebody's father. These are all relationships. Yes, they have to be maintained, they have to be cultivated, but how? With that inner space of knowing who I am and knowing that when I play the role of son or daughter, what is it? It's a role. What am I? Atma, devoted to Ishvara. Even before knowing, we can say, my original identity is that of a devotee. So therefore, what am I? Devotee son, devotee daughter, devotee spouse, devotee mother, devotee father, devotee office goer. So the problems of the roles belong to who? The person or the role? The role. The problems of the role belong to the role, and they don't roll on to the person. Like the actor, the quintessential example of the actor playing the role of who? Beggar. As the beggar, he has to wear tattered clothes, cry from house to house, I have not eaten for 5 days, give me food, give me food, bhavati bhikshan dehi. And then in every house, all the 5 houses, what does the homeowner do? Slams the door in the face, and then the beggar has to cry louder and louder. The body of the beggar is what? Body of the actor. Mind of the beggar is what? The mind of the actor. And then the speech of the beggar is what? Speech of the actor. In fact, the whole beggar is what? Actor. Is the actor the beggar? Never. Because the actor's bank balance is going up as a result of playing this role. Ironically. Actor is not beggar. Beggar is non-separate from actor. The role is non-separate from the person. The role uses the person to fulfill it. But then the person is not the role. The person is Purusha. The person is Bhagavan. This I have to keep in mind. And so this is a two-step understanding. The first step is I am devoted to Bhagavan. I am a devotee. And then with the help of Vedanta, I am non-separate from Bhagavan. And this the teacher tells and frees the student from complete enmeshment with the role, which becomes a dysfunctional scenario. And so, na asitvam samsari. You are out of samsara, you are not a samsari. Na asitvam putratvadi dharmavan. You are not one with all these useless, finite attributes. Amushya putraha, amushya putri, all this you are not that. Kim tarhi? What are you? Sad yat tattvamasi. You are Sat. You are Sat, and that Sat is you alone, both ways. So just like we saw in the Kathopanishad mantra earlier. Iti avidya moha patana abhinahanat mokshito bhavati. So the person becomes freed. Mokshitaha, freed. Freed by who? Freed not off. Freed by who? Guru. Freed by Guru. Don't forget. Yeah. Brahmavida. and Brahmanishtena Brahmavida Sadatma Dharmavida Mokshitaha. Mokshitaha, freed. How freed of what? Mohapatanat, Abhinahanat, Mokshitaha. Mokshitaha, freed by the Guru, freed of the blindfold of wrong understanding. I am finite, I am somebody's son, and I am somebody's daughter. Iti, the wrong identification with the limited roles. That is what is the blindfold, and the teacher's teaching removes the blindfold. Iti, so then mokshitah gandhara Purushavat. So, like the person headed to Gandhara, Swam Sadatmanam Upasampadya Sukhi Nirvritaha. So then, just like the person who reached Gandhara in the example, the student also here, lightened of the burden of thinking, I am as good as the roles that I play, is freed of all the roles. And then, who am I? I am Sadatma. I am that Sat which is myself alone. I am Brahman iti upasampadya, having gained my true identity which was lost in the body mind sense forest, having gained my true identity as non-separate from Ishvara, Sukhi Bhavati. So then what happens? Nirvritaha. Accomplishing this knowledge, the person becomes Sukhi Bhavati. Iti, therefore, Nirvritaha Syat. Iti evameva arthaha. So, iti eva artham. Aha. So, to show this, then the conclusion is given. What is the conclusion? Ācāryavān Puruṣo Veda. The person with the Acharya alone gets the truth, gets the understanding. And that is what it is. And the Acharya's definition we saw. We saw the definition of Sadacharya. What is the definition of Acharya? 3 meanings we saw. Asamantat Chinoti. The gems of the Shastra are collected. Mahavakyas are collected. Swayam Ācārati, the one who behaves according to how the Shastra says you should behave and does not behave who according to the Shastra says you should not behave. Okay? And then what's the third meaning? Swayam Ācārati, Anyan Ācaryate. So the one who helps to influence, to inspire other people also to behave in accordance with the Shastra and to see the truth of oneself. This is what is called Sadacharya. So this Acharya and the Acharya who teaches Sat. So then what happens? Here, Tasya Asya Eva Asya Evam Ācāryavatah Mukta Avidya Abhinahanasya. So then there is a little discussion of what happens to this person. Okay, that we'll see a little bit later. So here this concludes this portion of what? Ācāryavān Puruṣo Veda. So why is the conclusion Ācāryavān Puruṣo Veda? Because being lost in the body mind sense forest, what is that single force that extricates one from this body mind forest? What is the single force? The teaching. And the teaching here cannot be had without teacher. It's a package deal. So the single, the eka, the only force which extricates one from all these wrong identifications, leading to anartha, leading to pain, sorrow, confusion, and bondage, where I take the notional bondage to be oceanic, to be real. So it's the notion of bondage which I take to be the ocean of samsara. So therefore, what is the single force that extricates? Shastra. The Shastra always comes with a tour guide. Yeah. So just like when you go on a tour, bus tour of a city, the tour guide also comes along. Otherwise, you look out of the window. And then what happens? You don't see anything. Once a very funny thing happened. And what is that? We were a group of religious leaders. We had a meeting in Japan, and then so they said on the last day we will. So they were myself, one more sannyasi, and some other, all these religious leaders of various religions. And then so they said, we will give you a tour of this city. Very nice city it is. Bus tour we have arranged. The hosts, they wanted to do something nice for us. So on the last day, before we took off on our planes to come back to our destinations, a bus tour with a tour guide was arranged. And then what? The bus started, and then I was sitting next to one bishop. Okay, and then this person said to me, what did he say? He said, is this tour guide a must? She's keeping on talking. So I said, yes, we can't tell her not to talk. She's doing her job. She's showing whatever she knows. She's showing, and then she's showing whatever she knows, and then she has to do that. She's doing her job. And then so what happened? She kept on talking, and then all the religious leaders, they some of them went to sleep because it had been exhausting. The last few days, full schedule, and the rest of the people took out their various kinds of malas and started to do japa. And the poor lady is saying, please look to the right. This is one of the most famous temples. Om Namah Shivaya, or whatever they were doing, Hail Marys, or whatever they were doing, and it was just wasted, Yeah. Tour guide is wasted on religious leaders. This is what I found out afterwards. And some others were catching up with each other because they had not had time to catch up. They had met and they had many things in common. So they were having an animated discussion. And so as to not disturb the people, they went to the back of the bus to talk in hushed tones. But anyway, that poor lady, I felt terrible for her, and so myself and a few other people, we just had this look of earnest enthusiasm and nodded vigorously to make up for the rest of the people. So here, but here the Shastra is a tour guide where the teacher comes for free. The teacher is a package deal. You cannot say, no, I will have the chutney but not the idli. Yeah, if you go to just a regular Indian diner, they will not know how to do. They will not know how to price it. But the person coming from abroad will say, too many carbs, I'm on the keto diet. And so therefore what? Give me chutney without idli. They don't know what to do. They look at each other and wonder where you have come from. This is a thali culture, okay? What you get for breakfast is breakfast. What you get for lunch is lunch. What you get for dinner is dinner. It just comes on a plate and then you eat it all. This is actually a very healthy, this is Vedanta on the plate. Yeah, this is a plate full of Vedanta that you're getting. Why? Because it helps to reduce and eliminate the raga dveshas so you can come out of the forest. You can come out of the forest as the guru is leading the way and holding the hand. You don't say, no, let me see, stay here for a little while and see if there is a little more sukha coming. No, you rush out of there. This is a thali culture. So the Shastra, the Upanishad, along with Upanishad, what is served? Ācārya is also served, not Achar. That's a different thing. Ācārya is served along with Shastra. Okay. So the Ācārya comes and has to be there because the whole thing is a live pramana. We have discussed a lot about pramana when? In the previous Janma, which was a week ago. Okay. Yeah. So we have discussed a lot about pramana. We have discussed a lot about all these things. And so the pramana is a live pramana. And the live pramana is like live coals, which the Acharya holds up for one to see one's own brilliance, one's own nature. And so without the Acharya, you cannot have this meal called the Shastra meal. The Shastra meal has to come with Acharya. If you say, I don't want Guru, why? Because I don't want Guru. I'd rather be just lost. I don't want Guru at all. If you say like that, then who is the loser? You are the loser. Because Shastra without Acharya is a dead heap of words. How can you call Rig Veda a dead heap of words? I'm not calling. Rishi Angiras in the Mundakopanishad says, two kinds of vidya, two kinds of knowledge must be known. Dve vidye veditavye iti hasma. What are they? Paracha, aparacha. Paracha, aparacha. One is called para, one is called apara. Then of course the question is, what is this apara? And then the teacher lists. Rig Veda, apara means relative knowledge. Relative knowledge meaning knowledge of things that come to an end. Aparavidya. And what is paravidya? Knowledge of the absolute, knowledge of yourself as the absolute. Paravidya. So then, what is aparavidya? Let us see. Rig Veda. What? Yajur Veda. And all the Upanishads are where? In the Vedas. Rig Veda, Aitareya Upanishad, bye-bye. Yajur Veda, many Upanishads including Kathopanishad, bye-bye. Sama Veda, this Prakritam, Chandogya, bye-bye. And then what else? Atharva Veda, Mandukya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, where this is quoted, bye-bye. And then what? Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakarana, and then Niruktam, Chandasam, Iti, everything. The whole, everything that's a body of knowledge is what? Aparavidya, relative knowledge. And the Guru is the single and only force that has the ability to kindle the Shastra into a live flame so that you can see the truth, in the light of which you can see the truth of yourself, in the light of which the Atma Ajnanam is consumed. Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. The fire of knowledge that burns away all ajnanam, along with it all the karmas. All the karmas burn to charred, burnt, without any trace. Everything burnt. Ajnanam burnt, karma burnt, I am karta burnt, notion that I am karta burnt, notion I am bhokta burnt, notion I have been slighted burnt, notion I am guilty, I am the doer burnt, notion I am the agent burnt, notion I am somebody burnt, notion I am nobody burnt. Everything is burnt in this knowledge that is kindled by the teacher. What is the kindling? Pramana is the kindling. So where is the kindling kept? Alive in the heart of the teacher. The kindling is non-separate from the teacher, and that kindling, what does that kindling do? The kindling is carried from one's own teacher. One's own teacher kindled the heart and made alive this knowledge from the dead heap of words. Shabda Rashihi, Adi Shankara says in the Bhashya to this portion of the Mundakopanishad, which was just quoted. This Shabda Rashi is made alive, and handed over to the student, who then becomes what? Teacher. This is the beauty of the knowledge. The teacher can create other teachers. That is the beauty of this knowledge. Otherwise, we will just be in an infinite quest. This is not an infinite quest. What is it? Quest of the infinite. The infinite being you, the quest is definitely finite. So the kindling is carried from the teacher, kept alive, because the student who has now become teacher is what? Brahmanishtha, Shrotriya. Therefore, the whole job of the teacher is to keep this kindling alive and then become one with this kindling, non-separate from this kindling, assimilates this kindling. The teacher himself, herself is the kindling, which lights up the heart of the student. And that is why it is called, that is why the single most force which makes the difference from ajnanam to jnanam, what is that? Is Ācārya. Now, there could be a question here. What if there are bad Ācāryas? This is possible in these modern days and all these. There are so many self-styled Ācāryas, God man, God woman, so many things are there. And then I had, I had this person who came to me. Actually, she was my seatmate in a plane in an international flight. And she saw I was wearing orange and she said, "Can I just tell you some things, very difficult things that have happened to me? Tell me, what happened?" So she had a teacher. So she had complete Shraddha and Bhakti in this teacher. And then the teacher kept saying, "You have all these problems and you have all these difficulties. So please give me $25,000 so that I can go into a trance and download," this was his words, "download some information to make you feel better." And she and her husband, they were very wealthy. God had made them very wealthy. But then, what is the use of wealth when they had so many issues and problems? They had a lot of difficulties, lot of problems. One child was a special needs child. Another child had somehow got alienated from the family, was not talking to them. All these things, they were very, very upset. And so they were ready to do anything to help their children to just have a normal life. 25,000 each download. And what is in this download? So go here, go there, do this, do that, some rubbish, customized downloads. And very soon they were paupers. They were totally paupers. And then, and then after that, they started to study with me after this experience of telling me what happened and everything like that. And then naturally they were scared. And then one thing which occurred to me, and I told them, is that even supposing there is a bad Ācārya, there should not be. Really speaking, anybody schooled in Vedanta should not be a bad Ācārya. But here was a person for whom this knowledge had not, who had not been exposed to this knowledge, and who had been touting himself as a wonderful guru to everybody. And then so I said, now he's behind bars. They were able to take him down, because as it turned out, many people had come under his spell. He's behind bars now as we speak. And so what happened was this. So I said that, I said, even if it is a bad Ācārya, quote unquote, even if it's a terrible Ācārya, what protects you is your own Shraddha. Shraddhavān labhate what? Dhanam? Jnanam. Okay, good. Shraddhavān labhate jnanam. So your own Shraddha protects you, because the Shraddha directed at the Ācārya in the immediate situation is actually going to who? Bhagavan. Bhagavan will never abuse your Shraddha. So your own Shraddha protects you. Some karma had to go, it went. But your own Shraddha protects you, keeps you on this path, and helps you find the correct teacher. That is customized for you. A custom-made teacher. That is just right for you. So even if somebody is in the spell, has unfortunately, due to some karma or due to whatever, abuse of the person's free will, has come under the spell of a bad experience, their own Shraddha protects them to continue. That is the beauty of it. Bhagavan protects you, because the Shraddha directed towards the Guru is actually Shraddha directed at who? Adi Guru. Bhagavan Dakshinamurti. So the Shraddha is not wasted. So one doesn't, because this couple was feeling like, they were feeling so bad about themselves, they were feeling like they were fools to have trusted this person. I said, no, that person is the fool. You're not the fool. Anybody who has Shraddha is not a fool. We are blessed to have that Shraddha. But the Shraddha was unfortunately misdirected by certain force of certain circumstances, because of the charisma of that person, whatever, so many things, because of the abuse of that person, abusing their free will. But that same Shraddha is protected, because the Shraddha, even though it's directed at this person, since that person is not worthy of it, all Shraddha goes to who? Bhagavan. So if the person is worthy of the Shraddha, that Guru himself, herself, takes that Shraddha and gives it to Bhagavan. It goes to Bhagavan. All your namaskaras go to who? Bhagavan. All your Shraddha goes to who? Not the Guru, directly to Bhagavan. That's why we say what? Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu. That is what it is. So we don't say Guru is Bhagavan. That's a setup. What do we say? Bhagavan is in the form of Guru. Then it becomes very complete. Then there is one sentence here. Tasya tavadeva chiram yavanna vimokshe. So this is a discussion on videha mukti. What is videha mukti? Videha mukti means there is a feeling, or there is a saying on part of the people who don't have this knowledge. This is the understanding. What is the understanding? The person is jivan mukta when, at the time of gaining the knowledge, the person becomes free while living. This is the meaning of the word jivan mukta. Free while living, the person is. And then after that, what happens? The person drops the body, because the body is not the person. Body has its own cycle, and then finally the body drops. Then the person is videha mukta. Videha mukta means finally became one with Sat. What Sat? The unmanifest Sat, which is the Karana of the Jagat, which in this Upanishad is called what? Is called Jagat Karanam Brahma. Sadeva Somya Idam Agre Asit. That Sat. So the oneness with Sat, is gained after the fall of the body, because the body itself becomes a separating factor between the person and the knowledge. This is what is Ajnani's view. The Jnani's view is what? That Sat is attained, so to speak. That the understanding that I am Sat is already gained what? At the time of knowledge. The understanding not being separate from the person is Sadatma when? At the time of knowledge. The person is Sadatma. So the fall of the body is just a non-happening, because the person doesn't identify with the body anyway. So, a jnani does not make a distinction between Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. There is neither Jivan Mukti nor Videha Mukti from the standpoint of the jnani. Oh, no Jivan Mukti, no Jivan Mukti. Why? Because what were you before you were free? Were you Sadatma or not? Yes. What are you now that you are free? Sadatma. So what mukti are we talking about? For whom there is no bondage, what will the mukti be? So from the jnani standpoint, there is neither, what is the first one? Jivan mukti, nor there is what? Videha mukti. But from the ajnani standpoint, Videha mukti is there, Jivan mukti is there. And so a question is raised. So then, yavat tavadeva chiram yavanna vimokshe is given for who? The Ajnani, the Upanishad statement. So Acharya Adi Shankara raises one objection and answers it also. What is the objection that is raised? Hey, wait a minute. If only after Videha Mukti I am gaining oneness with Sat Sampadyate, when Videha Muktehe Urdhvam. So not prak, urdhvam. After the fall of the deha muktehe, urdhvam. So after the fall of the body, I become one with Sat. So that means what? Ācāryavān Puruṣo Veda, useless. Why bother about Acharya? All I have to do is wait to die. That's all. I will become one with Sat anyway. Why should I strive for any other? Why should I strive for Jivan Mukti? Because I cannot enjoy myself as Sat until the body falls. To which Adi Shankara, raising this objection, says, no. From the standpoint of the Jnani, there is neither Jivan Mukti nor there is Videha Mukti. After the so-called after the gain of this knowledge, what is understood? I was never bound. And therefore, I do not need to be what? Freed. And on that happy note, let us say the closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. We will take an exactly 5-minute break to stretch, to just walk around, do whatever one wants. We will meet here exactly at 9:40 and start.